Okay, this continues our section 3.3. We're going to be taking a look at that example you were supposed to have done on your own. So I've drawn a little example here on this, not a very nice picture, but better to get our idea here. So I'm going to go from this point here over to this point down here. So we notice that we go down 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So our rise here is a negative 5 because I went down. And then I go across 1, 2, and I've gone to the right, so that's a positive 2 there. So my rise, a negative 5 over a positive 2, and that gives me the slope of the line, negative 5 over positive 2. And it's just like before, if these had any common factors, we'd then simplify it down, and that'd give us our slope based upon those positive factors. All right, now let's go back and talk about our special lines, our horizontal and our vertical lines again. So remember this table I showed you before, and that now we're going to be talking about the slopes, right? So when we see a horizontal line, we see an equation y equals a b, and that is a line that has 0 slope. And remember, all ordered pairs on horizontal lines have points that are the y equaling that b. And so when we saw before with the slope formula that we had the b being the same, right, the y coordinates being the same, that's when we should have been able to say, oh, well, the slope is 0 because it's a horizontal line. And then vertical lines, the equations look like x equals a. And when we see a vertical line, whether we see it visually or we see it with a formula, we're going to know that the slope of a vertical line is undefined. And when we see the ordered pairs, same thing, right? We know that when we see x coordinates and ordered pairs being the same, that we're actually talking about a vertical line. So like the slope formula before, when we saw the a's being the same, we could have just automatically said, oh, well, this is a vertical line. Vertical lines have undefined slope. So all of these 3 points are going to work themselves in to be very important to one another. And eventually we're going to be finding models or equations for a linear model. And so some of these things will come into play. So how can I tell from a visual that I have a vertical line, or how can I tell from a set of ordered pairs? So how can I use the points right up there in this table to interpret what I see? So based upon the ordered pairs, if I have the same y's, I know I have a horizontal line which has 0 slope. Based on the x's in an ordered pair, I know I have a vertical line, and therefore I have undefined slope. And that's what we saw before. Now, if I want to look at the graph of a line, if I see a horizontal line, right, a line that goes like the horizon in the world, I see a horizontal line, I automatically know that the slope's 0. I also know, by the way, that the y's in the ordered pairs on that line, that's the equation of the line too. Y equals whatever those y values are. And then the next thing is that if I see a vertical line, right, up and down, straight up and down vertical, I know the slope's 0 or undefined, and therefore if I have undefined slope, that all the x values on the points are exactly the same. So I actually know the equation as well. And then from the equation or a model, if I see a y equals b equation, I already know it's a horizontal line, so my slope's 0. And y coordinates in those ordered pairs are all going to be the same. And if I see an x equals a line, oh gosh, well that one's vertical, and so I know it has undefined slope. And their a coordinates are always going to be the same. The x coordinates are always going to be the same. So let's go ahead and take a look at an example here. And we're going to finish this up in the next lecture, but we're going to look for the horizontal line and the vertical line, and then we're going to be talking about all the characteristics here. We're going to list some ordered pairs on each of those lines. We're going to find the equation for each of them. That's a little bit advanced, but we're going to do it anyway. And then we're going to find the slope, and then we're going to verify that slope with the slope formula, just to kind of bring everything full circle. So we'll do that in the next mini lecture.